Are you curious to know how COVID-19 is going to impact the Canadian real estate market? This is my part 2 of my personal predictions as to how this will affect in the next few months and even couple of years based on the couple of months that we've endured the pandemic. What's up, you guys? It's Josh Tavares from TNR Wealth Strategies. In our channel here, we talk about all things personal finance, real estate investing, mentorship, and so on and so forth. Remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and even jiggle the notification bell so you can get updates on our newly uploaded content. As we know, the pandemic has happened for quite some time now. It's impacted many areas of our life, and real estate, of course, is one of them. Many people are being impacted from all facets of life, whether it's being from high income earners, middle class, lower income earners. We're all being affected in multiple facets of our life. And here's my predictions as to what will take place proceeding forward in the Canadian real estate market. Number 1, many real estate investors may be in a desperate position to sell their rental properties based on the loss of jobs and the delinquency of rent payments from their tenants. Many investors are right now feeling the crunch, and Airbnb is definitely one of those spaces for investors. Flights have been canceled, right? You've got many people that are moving out who aren't able to take school in the physical spaces, and there's many people who are no longer needing their space anymore. So because of it, investors are now in the crunch, and they're now switching up their strategy from perhaps short-term to long-term rentals. With this in play, many investors, even outside the Airbnb space, are really feeling the vacancy rates, considering that now many rents have dropped, and because of it, you may have some tenants now that are shopping around for lower rents. And because of this, you're going to have more investors going out, having their unit advertised, and be able to find new tenants for their unit and do their best to cash flow or mitigate any negative cash flow. With the closure of the landlord-tenant board, this puts a lot of stress on investors. You've got many tenants who aren't paying rents, and some of them who are actually causing damage to the property, making this very difficult for investors. Yes, there are mortgage deferrals. However, there's still more debt being accumulated based on these circumstances. This is leaving a negative taste in investors' mouth, in a sense where now they may need to either, of course, put their unit back on the market for rental purposes, or they may actually look into selling, which is an opportunity for investors who are kind of sitting on the sidelines to scoop these properties up for a discount. So when things get better, the economy comes up in full force and blossoms. Rents will go up, vacancy rates will drop, and provides an excellent opportunity to buy a property cheap from investors who are feeling the crunch with other investors who've got cash to do so. So then they can get in a good price point, get good tenants in, and write off the sunset. Yes, there is the option of mortgage deferrals. One thing to keep note is that with mortgage deferrals, once you begin to make your new payments, for the most part, you're going to have a higher mortgage amount in terms of your monthly payments as well as your overall payments. So do keep that in mind. And for most of the large banks, they're not going to extend your amortization. Your amortization will stay the same, but your monthly and overall payments will definitely be higher. Right now, if you're negatively cash flowing, yes, the mortgage deferral is helping you for the time being, but this is also a difficult space if you're negatively cash flowing, because this is just be more expensive every month. It'd be harder to keep up, and more you'll have to fork out of your own pocket to keep things afloat. Number 2, working from home will become more prevalent and realistic in these times. Working from home will be the new normal for many workplaces, especially in the white-collar district. With everything that's taken place, COVID-19 has provided an opportunity for many businesses to reevaluate their structure and to allow employees to work from home, increase efficiencies, and be able to operate as though nothing has happened. Because of this, I can see many tenants or homeowners beginning to leave the neighborhood they live in that may be higher cost, which is close to the workforce, live further away to have a reduction cost of living, so they're able to have more at the end of the month and have a more workplace balance than opposed to living close to the office and working from there. This will continue to increase the demand for the suburbs in Ontario and in many parts of Canada, in forms of perhaps Mississauga, Burlington, Hamilton. Many of these cities, people are now going to say, if I work in Mississauga, what's the point of me living there when I could perhaps live in Hamilton, have a lower cost of living? And because of this, many condos in high population areas such as Toronto, Vancouver may feel the hit, because many tenants or of course homeowners are going to say, why am I going to have a condo, pay all these high fees when I can have a home, live further away, have a better standard of living and a reduction of cost of living? With this in mind, this provides an opportunity for many businesses to, instead of hiring locally, they can actually hire outside of locally. So as an example, maybe an IT company would no longer need to hire if they're based in London, Ontario. They don't need to hire within that geographical area. Perhaps they could even hire someone in perhaps Quebec or North Ontario, East Ontario, and save out on costs based on the cost of that position in those areas, and a way for companies to restructure, as I mentioned earlier, and to really cut back on those costs and not be handcuffed by only hiring locally. Because many businesses may now look to hire outside of locally, this could substantially impact the GDP, unemployment, vacancy rates in many parts of these cities. Because of course, many people who get a job in these areas, move in these areas, get a home in the form of buying or renting, and eventually have a lifestyle, invest into the economy, spending through taxes and through other things. But perhaps now that can really impact that. So as an example, if you've got someone who lives in Quebec and you've got this business located here in London, Ontario, that person isn't going to, buy a car, buy a home, buy groceries and have a standard of living in Ontario. They're going to be doing so in their native hometown. So that could really impact less people living in these areas and spending the economy, and could really perhaps even degress the economy in places that these businesses are running from. But of course, these businesses are fine with that based on the lower cost and efficiencies of the new way of doing things. Number 3, the potential of new real estate developments. Due to COVID-19, pre-construction is going to look different in terms of how everything is done in terms of the presentation or the type of properties that you're going to get. I recently read a Financial Post article stating that some new developments such as condos may have voice activation in terms of elevators, automatic open doors, may have more sanitary areas or higher square footage for those to work from home, make it more of a workplace friendly home balance. So look that into the near future as to how things will change in terms of how developments are done and how the work-life balance will be taking place. As condos and developments over time have become more and more small, jam-packed, more cookie-cut size, of course, to increase the number of units so they can increase profits, I believe this will change, of course, due to social distancing and many hygienic purposes, in where, like I had mentioned, square footage is going to be key, office space are going to be key. I think these minimum small units might go from 500, 300 square feet to perhaps 500 to 700 square feet, and the larger units, maybe that would usually be about 1,100 square feet in terms of for a condo, may actually go up to about 1,300, 1,400 square feet. However, because the condo developers are going to be losing out because they have less units to sell, less volume, expect prices to go up substantially. So let's just say in Toronto, a 2-bedroom pre-construction condo goes for, let's just say $1 million. I think after it's all said and done, because of the reduction of volume of units they could be selling, it could be going for about 1.2, 1.5. These are just guesstimates, but this is just something to look into as developers, of course, never get in the industry to lose money. It's all about how they can make everyone happy, but also, of course, fill their pockets with money. With everything that was part of the article, I can see the futurization of things we may have seen in the past in terms of like the Jetsons, like I said, with voice activation, automated doors, more sanitization, voice activation or like facial recognition. This can be very much the future in terms of how we live our lives, how we get to our homes, how do we get onto our elevators, how do we access amenities into mini condos, and very much fast forwarding in terms of a matrix sense, the futurization of our world, especially in the living space, especially knowing that, as I had mentioned, many people will be working from home, so units are going to be larger and the structures and the layouts are going to change for, of course, the new times of how we do things. No guarantee these predictions are going to fall through. I don't have a crystal ball. However, based on everything that's taken place and some research and some real estate knowledge that I have, it seems as though this can very much be the future of how things happen, essentially accelerating futurization of how we do things based on the pandemic that's taken place. There you have it. My personal predictions, part 2 of the Canadian real estate market after the pandemic. If you haven't seen part 1, click the link down below. If you enjoyed the video, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and even jiggle the notification bell so you can get uploads on our newly uploaded content. For more content, click up here or down here.